I was tagged in a video regarding the Taliban stripping away women's last hope of being able to make money in their country. And I want to get into this article. Taliban orders Afghanistan's beauty salons to close in latest crackdown on women's rights. Afghanistan's Taliban rulers, in their latest trampling of women's rights, have ordered the closure of beauty salons across the nation, eliminating one of the last means Afghan women had of earning income and finding social engagement. Under guidance issued by the de facto Taliban government's supreme leader, women's beauty salons in Kabul and provinces should be given a month to shut their business activities, and their licenses and contracts will be invalid at the end of the specified period. Akif Muhajir, a spokesman for the ministry, sent CBS News a copy of the decree, but initially would only explain it by saying the verbal decree has come from the supreme leader. A day later, Mahajir explained in a statement posted online that the edict was issued as beauty salons were putting too much economic pressure on grooms-to-be, as their families are traditionally expected to cover the cost of wedding beauty treatments for women from both families. That sounds like some BS. The Vice and Virtue Ministry spokesman said salons also used fake hair and shaped women's eyebrows, which he said was prohibited in Islam, though both are common in many other majority Islamic nations. Muhajir also suggested that an overuse of makeup would prevent women's skin from absorbing water from the Islamic prayer rituals. Man, these are some terrible excuses. Beauty salons were one of the few remaining sources of income for Afghan women supporting themselves and their families. The Taliban has issued a series of formal decrees since it retook power over the country in August 2021, severely restricting women's right to go to work, to go to school, and even leave their homes unaccompanied by men. People come to my pages wondering why I speak to so many things globally and why I, as a Black woman, don't just stay in my Black woman lane. And it is because we literally in this country just got some rights. And we have women in this country, anti-feminists, who are thinking that going back to a country where men are the sole leaders in the country would do something. Like feminists are the problem. Whereas we literally just got the right to freedom of education, freedom to have a bank account, freedom to be able to vote and have our own voices heard. And in other parts of the globe, women are exactly where we were, and we need to be having these conversations. When women and girls start to lose hope, when they see that there's no way out, what is going on? I'm going to show you a video clip talking about what happened after the Taliban stripped women's ability to go to school and go to work. If you listen through the whole clip, women started to lose hope. Girls started to lose hope. So unaliving attempts and unaliving successes increased by double. Women are trying to get out. Women are trying to escape. So what happens when women start to lose hope, when they just accept their fate? Their spirit dies. A lot of times your spirit dies before your actual body dies. And this is not good for a country. This is not even good for men. And this is another reason why I talk about this stuff. This is not good for men either, because when women lose hope, then the family start to lose hope. And so this will impact everybody. I know male leaders are going to start scrambling, because if the deaths of women start to increase and people don't have babies, because this can impact their fertility, women and girls know how to not have babies. They will figure it out. Fertility will continue to decline. The economy will continue to decline. And this is being repeated. This is history being repeated on so many levels. So I am going to play this next clip from CBS News and just watch it to the end. Women are losing hope, and this is a global thing, and I know people want me to stay in a lane. I get it. But women in this country literally just got rights. We just got the rights that we express now, and that some people still take for granted, as if it was here, when this country was formed. This country was formed on sexism and racism. It's baked into the cake of this country, and we're still trying to clean the vestiges of the sexism and racism that were built into this foundation. So, and then with the help of males that want to strip rights, and with the help of male identified women who want to strip rights, our rights are still tenuous at best. So, watch this next video. I won't be coming in on the back end, but y'all go ahead and tell me what you think. Like, comment, share.
From most jobs outside the home, and ruled that women are not allowed to travel alone. For more on this, I'm joined by Ramita Navahi. She is an investigative journalist, and she made the PBS Frontline documentary Afghanistan Undercover and No Country for Women on ITV, which exposes the reality of life for women living under the Taliban rule. Ramita, after the U.S. ousted the Taliban from Afghanistan, George W. Bush regularly cited education for women when he listed the benefits of the invasion. Let's listen to him. This is from 2002.
The last time we met in this chamber, the mothers and daughters of Afghanistan were captives in their own homes, forbidden from working or going to school. Today, women are free and are part of Afghanistan's new government.
President Bush said this again and again at the State of the Unions and for the rest of his presidency. At this point now, has Afghanistan essentially reverted to where it was in 2001 or even before that?
Yes, it has. It absolutely has. And you mentioned that the Taliban talked of women. It was their very first press conference when they took power, which I think is significant because they know that the world is watching when it comes to women's rights. We just saw how George Bush started this off. And of course, that was all talk. It was a complete farce. They wanted to show the world that they had changed, but they hadn't changed at all.
And give us an understanding. There are women who are at university right now in Afghanistan. There's a whole generation who grew up with the promise of an education. How do you think this will hit them?
Oh, my God. I mean, well, I can tell you exactly how it's hit them. First of all, there's been an absolute loss of hope. So for the last 20 years, as you say, women have been very visible in Afghanistan. Women have had jobs. They've had jobs in government. They've had jobs throughout the whole country. They have been educated, and this has completely been taken away from them. They are now, in effect, prisoners in their own home. We've seen an encroachment of their rights and of their ability to actually to be mobile, to leave the house in the last few months. And the way that this is actually affecting them is a rise in suicide rates. That's what I found when I was in Afghanistan, that suicide rates since the Taliban have come in have almost doubled in hospitals that we visited. And this is information that the Taliban doesn't want the world to know.
And the Taliban is at the moment suffering from extreme rates of poverty and is in a destabilized state. Help us understand how those conditions clash up against this. I mean, are they trying to take control of what they can, which is these kinds of laws, while they are unable to fix the other problems? How do those two things interplay?
Well, it's interesting because on one hand, and this is why the Taliban was so keen to tell the world that they have reformed and that women would be allowed to go back to the workplace and they'd be allowed an education because they need the West on side. So they're desperate for aid money. As you say, the economy is in an absolute mess. People are starving and they've got billions of revenue stuck in the US. So they need this. They need to persuade Western diplomats who keep saying, listen, we will start negotiating with you once you promise that women can go back to education. I think something else this shows, which is really interesting, is divisions within the Taliban itself. So I think there are Talibs who are more reformist. However, they're coming up against the fundamentalist, the fundamentalist group of the Taliban who absolutely want to stick to Sharia law and want to revert to what it was like 20 years ago.
The U.S. has already announced sanctions in October over the Taliban's treatment of women. Is there anything further that can be done on the sanctions front? And also, is there any route out of the country for women who are at university now and who are don't know what to do, that feel that sense of hopelessness you talked about?
Gosh, route out for women. There is no route out for women. I'm in touch with dozens of women who are stuck there. And these are not even ordinary Afghans who need to get out, who want to get out just to get an education. These are Afghans who are known to the Taliban, who are being monitored by the Taliban, who are in imminent danger and they can't get out. There are thousands of Afghans on evacuation lists, and these lists are simply not happening. So that's almost an impossibility.
Ramita Navahi, thank you so much for being with us this evening. We're very grateful.